Hi everyone, we are live for the final training of our series. I'm super excited to be here. As I said already, for everyone that has been through the different trainings, I decided to do this series exactly because I went to US and I got so inspired by two conferences, Traffic and Conversion Summit and Funnel Hacking Live. Both of them were incredible conferences where I met top marketers, and I say I need to take this knowledge that I took there and then translate it and bring it to my team. And then I say, but if I need to do these sessions for my team, then I why don't I just do this for everyone? And then I say, let's open it up to my list. And that's exactly how this happened. I'm super excited to be here, to be teaching about different things that we've been teaching in the different sessions. So on session number one, we've been teaching all about frameworks to revolutionize your business. Second one was about, I think the third one was about traffic. Today is about offer, and the second one was about funnels, was about webinar membership and challenges. So today we go in the offer. To me, it's interesting because I think I was writing in one of the email for this week that if I will need to cut out everything from a funnel and I will need to have one thing, that thing would be the offer. Because here is the thing, I can have the most beautiful challenge, but if the offer you have is bad, no one will buy, right? And I could have the most beautiful Facebook ads, but if it leads to an offer that doesn't work, it just wouldn't work, right? I could have the most beautiful framework for everything, but if it just doesn't have a great offer, it just wouldn't work, right? So the entire concept, the entire idea is what can we do in order to have great a great offer, and that's something that to me can totally make the change. And today we're gonna focus a lot about how to craft the offer and how we can use this to sell our online courses. So let's dive deep into it and let's take a look at today's session. 4 strategies to improve your offer and sell your online courses. For the one that don't know me, I'm Alessio Pironi. I got 7 year experience in the online education industry. Used to be chief marketing officer of Mind Valley, and I generated for my clients and the brands I work with over $100 million. Right now, I run an agency named Skill for Impact, where I work with incredible authors, especially in the personal growth area. People like Jordan Peterson, Marissa Peer, Danette May, Roger Hamilton, Scott Lesson, Terry Real, like incredible authors that are really changing the world every single day. And I'm super excited to share my journey, what I've been learning till now. And today we're going to focus on 4 different things. So the first one is that we're going to create an offer the Hormozy way. So unless you've been living under a rock, you might know about this Alex Hormozy. He's been taking the internet by storm in the last 2-3 years, and I think that is one of the biggest genius out there. I finally met him in person, such an humble and nice guy, and gonna share the learnings I got from him in how to create an offer. Then we're gonna go into universal sales principles. That's very interesting. It was a session with Myron Golden and Russell Branson. How to make your sales page alive. This is a session that we're going to talk about the 4 desires that people usually have whenever they come to your website with Brandon Burchard. And then we're going to talk about story selling. So 3 framework that we will explore how you can sell through stories with Josh Forti. And I really want to recognize these 4 people because they've been doing an incredible job in sharing this knowledge, and I'm just sharing their knowledge because they literally impacted me so much, and I just want to take this and pass it a bit forward for everyone else. So let's dive deep into the training. Today we're going to cover tons of stuff, so I'm super excited about this. And let's do it by starting with creating your offer the Hormozy way. So I absolutely love this. I think that Alex is one of the persons that's been simplifying things, because a lot of time people have been complicating stuff and it's like, guys, you're just not looking at the reality. The offer is the way, and you really need to learn how to craft a great offer. For the one that don't know him, who is this guy? is a guy that launched uh, 3 different businesses. The first one was named Gym Launch, and it was literally helping people to launch their gym. And he sold the company for like something like over $100 million, something like that. And then he created a software company which was helping people to schedule appointments and stuff. And he sold another company which I can't remember, but basically he took all this money and then created what's called acquisition.com, which is its current business where he actually invests in businesses that are already making a few $1,000,000 and allow them to scale. And he's an absolute legend at that. And I think he's probably one of the hottest names right now into the high ticket space. So let's take a look a bit at what Alex is doing and what does he suggest. So the first thing, the first step that he teach about is pretty simple. Nail your offer. You need to nail your offer and understanding very well. And the things that you always talk about, and I want to start with this example, is about that you need to make an offer that is so good that you feel stupid ignoring it. You're just like, are you serious? That's kind of the offer you guys suggest? I definitely should buy a product. And that's kind of the way in which you need to feel. Like one of the other thing that he says is like, if you as a person creating an offer is not scared about the offer that you're making, well, most likely you're not making a very good offer. That's something that to me it's very, very, very interesting, right? It's like a lot of time just put up a classic meh offer, which is like, oh yeah, I've done a course, 10 hours, 6 hours course, whatever. You can buy $200. Wanna buy? It's very flat, right? That's not a way to create an offer. The way to create an offer is to create something that is so incredible that people are like, oh my God, all of this for just that? Are you sure you want to do that? And that's kind of the way. So a great example that it does is with agencies. That's a great example you use. So the classic agency model function that, hey, I run your Facebook ads and you pay me 1K a month to run your Facebook ads. That's the most simple offer ever. Everyone does that. Boring, right? And then what it does is say, let's switch it a bit. Let's do it in a way in which we say, look, I don't run ads for you. I build an entire system that generate clients for you. The way in which we do it is that I'll build the entire website, the entire structure, the entire things for you for $4,000. And then you will pay me just for calls that you actually have with clients. Would you be okay on that? And that's a very interesting approach because as an offer is much better because the first one is about, oh, I pay you to drive ads, but then you kind of, I need to pay you so much more because I need to spend so much more on advertising, and this entire thing doesn't work. And then even if it doesn't work, you say, oh, it's not my fault, it's a platform fault. So something that doesn't work, right? On the other hand, the system that they say is sell you a system that delivers results. And that's what you want as a business owner. And then at the same time, you say, I don't just deliver results, I also make sure that the results that you get will make you revenue because you charge me on the call that I give to you. And that's a pretty exciting. So what it does here is something interesting. I want to zoom in on these slides. I'm not sure if everyone can see it, but it's basically a difference between the two different things. So the first one is how much are you spending in the classic offer versus in what you call the Grand Slam offer, right? Spend $10,000 in both of them and you get about 300,000 impressions in both of them. So nothing changes, exactly same offer. The only thing is that once it got a fantastic offer, so once you got the average offer as a response rate of 0.00013, while the other one has a response rate of 0.00033. Basically means that you have 2.5x response rate on the offer that is so much cooler, right? And then what happens is that you get a lot more appointment on that because there is such higher response rate. So instead of having 40 appointments a day, he has 100 appointments a day. And then what happens is that 75% of people show up, but then the sales is so much easier because the offer is exactly what the customer want. So instead of being an offer of 16% closing, it's an offer of 37% closing. So much stronger, much cooler, working in a much better way. And then what it does is that you say, okay, how many sales did we do? 5 versus 28. So this is pretty epic. And then you see how much did you charge. On the first one, you charge $1,000. In the second one, you charge $4,000. So you get $4,000 upfront, while on the other one, you charge just $1,000. And then in the first offer, you basically made $5,000. In the second one, you made $112K, which basically means you went from making half of what you actually invest in advertising to making 11 times what you invested in advertising. And that's the interesting thing of what he's saying. Is like once you do an offer that is so strong, so big, and also you're not afraid of charging more because you put so much more value in it, you will have much bigger results. This is kind of the major thing they need to understand. And again, look at whatever your competitors are doing and saying, what can I do better than them? That's a huge part of it. Now, let's go a bit deeper into the things that we can do. So number one is about selling to the right people. So a huge problem with offers is that a lot of time you do a great offer, just that you're selling to people that are not the right ones, right? How do we know about that? So a few ways, right? So number one, is there a pain? Like what you're actually trying to solve, is it really a problem of the customer? Do they have this pain? Do they want to solve this pain? Yes or no? Number two, do they have the purchasing power? Like an example that he was always bringing was he had a friend, and the friend created this entire business model, and the model was about helping people out of uni that don't have a job, helping them find a job so that then they can pay him to find a job. But then the concept is that people out of uni, they don't have any money and they don't even have a job. So they literally have zero money to pay you, and you want to sell to them something so that they will pay you. It just doesn't work, right? So you always need to try to figure out what's the purchasing power. The other thing that's very important, is it easy to target? Is it easy to find those people? Or is it very difficult? This is someone that is like, they're secret agents and you cannot know about them. And then the other important thing is that, is it growing? The market is growing or not? So another example you always bring in is that he had another friend, fantastic offer, everything good, people were paying, he was doing great, and he was in the newspaper business. And we all know that newspaper are going down, right? And actually, every year he was getting a bigger market share. He was doing so well, and he was still not making more money than the year before, even though he had a bigger market share. Why? Because the market is shrinking. So a lot of people are going out of business, or maybe you even take a 20% of the market and you feel super cool, but then you go look at your revenues and you're like, I'm making less. And this is because you are in an area that is not growing, it's actually going down. And you absolutely want to avoid that. Awesome. And once you get the right clients and you know exactly who they are and if they can actually buy the product, everything changes. So this one is something that want to go a bit deeper. So they're basically two little tables. On the left, you see the clients. On the right, you see the business. Okay. So what he say is that you guys need to charge a lot of money for what you do. So the classic things is that you can always or lower the price, and so I'm unique from my competitor because I lower the price, or you can increase the value. You always have these two choices. Most of all the people go for lower the price. It's very easy. It's cheaper. Everyone can get it. Everyone is happy. On the other hand, you can, the price still stay high, or I even increase it. But on the other hand, I increase the value so much more. That's an interesting one, right? So what happens to your clients when you decrease your price? Their emotional investment is lower, because instead of saying, I'll pay $2,000 for your course, I pay $20 for it, they'll be like, yeah, I'll just pay. And then probably what they will do, they'll never open it. Like 90% of people do whenever they buy a course like that. the perceived value, just it's a commodity. Like it's oh my god, it's just $20 course, who cares? Results, well, not much, because they don't open it, they don't do much on that, and the results are not going that well. If results are not going that well, are people going to say to everyone, you need to take this course, it's incredible? Not really, right? Because there is not that demand that it's given. And are you going to make a lot of money from customers per customer? Not really, because what's happening is that the revenue per customer goes down because the price is lower. What happens on the other side when you have a high price? Emotional investment is so much more. Oh my God, I invested $2,000 in this, better be worth the value. I'll give my best to make sure it works. So you open it, you go to the lesson, you go to the live coaching, you want this to be happening. Perceived value much higher. You're like, this is a premium program. I paid $2,000, so it's super strong. Results, obviously, you're much more committed. Obviously, you always want to give a much better value as a business owner. So you will push so much more for people to get results. And when people will get results, what will happen? Everyone will ask them, how did you do this? And then you will tell, oh, I got to this course. And this will create demand. And then your revenue per customer will grow, 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 and grow. That's exactly how lowering prices versus increasing prices changes in the client's mind. But let's look at the business side. In business, I lower my price. What happened to the profit? It lower, right? What happened to the self-value? How do I feel about this product? Is something that is like premium, or is something that is like cheap? Obviously, I feel cheap. What's the results perception? Obviously, people think, okay, it's not such a premium product, so results are much lower. What the service is? Well, obviously, you can't really give a huge service in your program if the things that happen are so little, right? And then sales team conviction. How is your sales team happy to sell this product or not? The lower the price, the less money they make, the less results we know that they get, the less service we know that we get, the less they're convinced about this happening, right? On the other hand, if you do high price, you have higher profit. This make you feel you have a higher self-value. It's like, oh my God, I generated all this thing. In terms of results perception, everyone will commit a lot more, as we just saw. Your results will be bigger, and you'll feel like it's not that they just make money and stole money from someone else, but I actually help them achieve the things in a better way. And then I can invest some of this money to give you a better service because I'm committing to them to achieve the results. And then my sales team know that we bring results. They get a lot of profit because that's part of it. And then they're like, cool, I'm all in for this. That's a huge key. That's a huge difference between a low ticket mindset to a high ticket mindset. And again, I think that Alex Hormozi is the number one in the industry right now. Then, how to reverse engineer the value. You need to understand, number one, what's their dream outcome? Like, who do they want to be? Talk with your customer, try to understand, really nail this part. It's very important. Other thing, what's the perceived likelihood of achievement? A lot of people might be like, okay, is this a scam? Does this work? I don't know if I can believe it. Use testimonial, use case study. Go so much deeper into make them understand. Most of all the people that come in achieve it. You need to invest in yourself. If you invest in yourself, you'll actually get there. And then, how fast can you do it? So what bonuses can you give to make this happen faster? A huge part is always like, oh my God, I need to do this, but I don't have a team and I don't have that, and this will take a lot of time. And then you say, no, you don't need any of this because we'll already give you everything done. Would you like to take it now? That's a huge important thing if you want to reverse engineer and add value to your program. And then step 5, last but not the least, close them. Once you bring all these things, you have a great offer, you have the right customer, you raise your ticket, you nail the dream outcome and everything related to that, was the scarcity for them to buy now? Was the urgency that we give them that is like, I need to do this now for my life? Or was it guarantee? Like, do we make them safe to buy in this moment? What's the bonus that we give that will make sure that they're like, okay, you really solve all the objection I might have thanks to this bonus? And then, very interesting, it really go a lot on that, was the naming of the program. it talks a lot about the right naming for the right program, and it talks about how the right naming should shift the identity of the customer that go through the program, right? And that to me is very important. The more you give a strong naming, the more you will shift this identity. And now, if this wasn't enough, what I really love about him is that he gave this example that to me was incredible, right? And the example was how to sell a book for $1,000. And he actually say, and when he said that, it's like, would someone buy a book for $1,000? Everyone say no. And then on the other hand, he say, well, if you don't want to buy a book for $1,000, I promise you that by the end of this session, you will want to buy a book for $1,000. They were like, okay, whatever. So then he arrived and then he said, this is not a normal book, this is a special book. It's a very great book and it's signed by me. How many of you want to buy a book that's signed by me for $1,000? No one raised their hand up. And then he say, okay, it has a special chapter that no one ever read before. And then there was a hardcore fan that raised his hand up. And then he's like, okay. It comes with a course. So you get the book and the course to make these things happen. Do you want it? Still people say no. And then he's like, okay, it comes with my personal phone number. Do you want it? And then half of the room stood up. And then he's like, okay, and after you read the book, I'll do 3 group coaching where I'm actually helping every one of you to craft your offer personally so that you can actually have the best offer ever. Would you want to come? Yes or no? Oh, and then if you don't 10x your investment that you spent $1,000 and get back $10,000, I'll give you all your money back. Who wants to come? And here is the exact thing, right? It shows us that it's not about the product itself, it's about how much more value you give to the things that you want to sell. And the more you make this value huge, the more you'll be happy to pay everything, right? And that's exactly the thing. No matter what's your product, no matter what you offer, no matter what's your mindset and everything, you can sell and raise your prices and give a huge offer that everyone will want to go. And that's the entire concept. Focus on value, give so much more value to your offer that they are so irresistible. Some people call them the Godfather offer, an offer that you cannot refuse. And that's something that will make total sense. Push a lot yourself to create those offers. You will change the way in which you run your business. Awesome. How did you like it? Everyone just comment. If you're on Zoom, comment on Zoom. If you're on Facebook, please write down. I want to see some comments. I love Alex Hormozi. I think that is one of literally the best marketer out there. Feel free to comment. Just give me a thumbs up. Did you like the Alex ideas? Say yes. Okay. Okay, awesome. So, universal sales principle. This was a session done by Marol Golden together with Russell Branson. Some of them were like interesting principle or kind of heard. Some of them were completely new for me. So I really love these sessions. It may be simple for someone, very advanced for someone else. I think that everyone will find at least one principle that you'll be like, oh my God, I need to apply this in my business right now. A lot of them apply to webinars, and this is some of the examples they give, but you can literally do with any other funnel that you want. Principle number 1, social compliance. So that's a very interesting concept that it talks a lot about. And this is something that you can use very well in your webinar. And a lot of people call this yes momentum. But basically what they say is that if you take some micro commitments during the webinar or during your sales pitch or everything, people will be much more likely to then buy in the future. And I remember they were sharing the story of a speaker that was famous to be the one that was closing more people in an event. And the way in which he was doing is that he was always asking questions, and he was always saying, my goal is that as many people as possible are doing this for the entire session. I always ask them questions, and people always want to say, yeah, I agree. And sometimes I don't like it when speakers are like, are you with me? Yes. Are you with me? Yes. Do you like this? Yes. But it's super important that more and more people do this in your sales pitch. So as an example, in your webinar, always ask them, type your city, and everyone type the city. micro commitment that show themselves who they are, but allow a bit to do the different things. And then in the beginning ask, are you committed to learn? Or would you want to learn? Drop a yes if you're committed to learn. And then you go on the belief. Do you believe that this is right? Do you believe that what I taught you makes sense? If yes, type a yes. And then at the end, feedbacks, in the sense that you always ask for feedback and you always ask for questions. And it's like, do you believe that this is the best thing? Yes or no? Yes. Would you say that you are a high achiever? Yes or no? Yes. The more you do this, the more you will have people writing in the chat, the more everyone else that's not typing in the chat will want to say, oh my God, yes, I want to be part of this. So seems small, but it does make a huge difference in terms of sales. And this principle of social compliance really can make a big part of your sales, or destroy it on the other end, right? Another one, I love this one, is named All My Cards Are on the Table. So a lot of time, whenever you go to a webinar or to an event where you know that someone is going to sell something, you can break the pattern and say in the beginning, hey guys, I want to be real. I'm going to sell something today. And a lot of you are asking, hey, is it a free training? You're going to sell something? Yes or no? And you say, yeah, I'm selling something. And it actually costs $10,000. And my mission in this webinar is to give you so much content, so many things, that then at the end of it, you'll be like, okay, this will be worth to you. Would you be okay to stay in the webinar to learn about this? Yes or no? Yes, right? Because everyone is like, I want to learn something that make me feel like $10,000. And then what happens is that when you arrive at the pitch at the end of the webinar, you say, oh, in the beginning, I said this is $10,000, but right now, I decided that for the people that came till the end and decided to be in the webinar, I halved the price at 5K. Would you want to buy now? So two different things. Number one, you've been true from the beginning, been very transparent, and you've also challenged them to say, am I going to teach you something that you're going to learn so much that it's like a $10,000 thing? And if someone stays till the end and is hearing the sales speech, it's probably because he's thinking, it might be a $10,000 program. And then you already did something that you anchor the price. So that's a psychological thing that usually salesmen do. You anchor the price to something so that people expect that. And then you simply say, okay, but the real price is this. And that's something that works incredibly well. Because once you're able to do this, you're able to definitely generate a lot more revenues. This principle, if I need to take one principle, like my favorite principle is this one. It's named kinda like bridges. And this one was a principle actually was given by Russell Branson in this presentation. And the concept is you always need to keep your copy, your messaging, your communication simple, right? They were giving an example that you always need to write at a grade 6 or a grade 7. And a lot of people write at a grade 12, right? For most of the people out there, that's too complex. And by the way, if you want to check if your copy is grade 6 or 12, go on Hemingway app and put your copy there, and they will tell you what's the grade, and they will tell you also suggestion on how to change it. Now, what's interesting is that they were even giving the example that Trump speaks at a grade 6, something like that. It's something that it's funny, but it's like, it's very simple. Everyone understands. You will never hear someone that say, I don't understand Trump. You will hear a lot of people say, I don't understand Hillary Clinton, right? So that's very important. Like, and this make you a lot more relatable, even though obviously I don't agree with things they say or do, but it makes you a lot more relatable. So how can you be more relatable to your people? And what they say is something like use kinda like bridges. What does it mean? Use simple metaphors to describe something that's complex. So an example he was giving is like selling a keto product. If any one of you has been in keto, you might know a bit about this, but basically keto works better when you have those things named ketones that allow you to create your ketogenic process and allow you to lose weight in a lot of times. So it's pretty cool. But it's super technical. something like that. And it was like trying to understand, okay, but what does these ketones do? And then someone was explaining the science behind, and I was like, okay, that's too complex. The way in which they solved it and worked incredibly well was like, well, imagine if you have like a million motivational speaker running through your body. That's kind of like what a ketone is. Now, how does this sound, right? And that's exactly the thing. Is like everyone understands a million motivational speaker running through your body. Like, frankly, I just want to eat some ketones right now to feel how it feels like, right? And that's kind of the thing that you want to create, right? You want to create those kind of like bridges that don't create something super technical that people don't understand, but it creates something that is a simple metaphor that people are like, oh my God, it's so cool. I want it. It's relating to me. And that's the thing. Like, sometimes I work with therapists. They're very scientific in their explanations, but you are selling to patient, which no patient is actually, scientific. Like, if not, they would have been a therapist, right? And a lot of time you just need to tell them, okay, this science does this, and this is kind of like what? It's always very important to understand this metaphor and go with that and really dumb it down. It makes a huge difference in the revenues, in the way in which you pitch, in the things that you can actually do. Awesome. This other one, very interesting. I can't afford it. So what does I can't afford it means when someone asks you, tell you this objection? It means it's not important enough for me to figure it out. Okay, because a lot of time someone will tell you, okay, if you really believe that this is very important to you, you're gonna figure it out. Like, as an example, is how many students every year don't have money to go to Harvard, but they still go and take a huge debt to go to that, right? And that's not because they don't have the money, that's simply because they're like, okay, I need to figure out a way to go there, right? I got in, right? And that's kind of the principle here. How many things in life we don't have the money to, but then we'll figure it out? Is you scrap for money, but then one day you have an accident, need to go to the hospital, and you need money for it. What do? Right? You figure out the money, right? And that's exactly the thing. Is like people. It's never that they cannot afford it. It's always that they don't give it enough importance to it. And if they don't give enough importance, you need to understand why. And sometimes your offer isn't good, so you need to change your offer. Some other time, the customer don't really have that pain, so maybe you need to change a bit the thing. Some other time, you will need to add something to your offer, or you need to remove a block that they have before actually pitching it. But it's very important. Every time someone say, I cannot afford it, it actually means it's not important enough for me to figure this thing out. Other principle, this is amazing. I've wrote about this on Instagram, I think yesterday. There are 3 types of buyers. Buyers that are emotional, buyers that are logic, and buyers that are fearful. And this to me is very important because we always think that it's always the same person that's buying. But the reality is that even if a person converts from a sales page, they might convert very differently and for different reasons. And what's really important is to understand how do you cater to all of them. So what's really interesting is there are actually even different parts of the brain that get activated based on the different type of buyers. Emotional buyers, whenever they see a page, whenever they see a video, whenever they see something, they're like, I want it now, I'm in. Logical buyers are much more different. You need to explain it. Okay, what's in the program? What's inside it? What it will change me day by day? At what time you're gonna do the live sessions, right? Emotional buyer don't even care the logistics, right? A logical buyer is like, oh, wait a second, if there is a live session at this time, but I'm in this other time zone, this won't work for me, so I'm not be able to do it. So it's very interesting and it's very important how different type of buyers will do different type of things. And that's something that you always need to figure out. Fearful people are afraid to be left out So they want to see social proof. Do you have testimonial on your page? Or they are afraid of like, okay, are they going to scam me? So you need to give them a guarantee. Or are they going to say, oh yeah, I'll buy maybe, I don't know. And then you need to give them some scarcity. It's like, we're selling this program just for the next 5 days. Are you in or are you out? Or simply say, there is a cohort of 20 people, 18 spots already sold, 2 left, are you in or out? Fearful people will react and buy in that. Logical people will never do that. But it's why in a sales page or in any sales speech, you put all these different elements. Not because every element will actually work for everyone. It's simply because different elements work for different people. And what's also interesting here is that if you think about your sales pages, and why a lot of people structure a sales page in this way is exactly in this way. So the first part, you focus the hook, then the central part, you go more on the story, and the last part, you go more on the offer, right? Every video, hook, story, offer, still the same concept. Hook, emotion. Story, logic, so that it goes a bit more in explaining the different thing. Offer, fear. That's the exact same concept. You always need to remember these are the 3 major ways in which people decide, 3 major type of buyers. You need to cater to all of them. And then principle number 6, upgrade your money close. So principle that's very similar to what Alex Hormozy was saying before. Is like, it's not about how much does cost, it's about much is worth. The more we're able to figure this out, the more we're able to help people. And the concept, the example he was saying is like, if someone give me $1, I'll give you 10. Would you want it? And everyone say yes. Say, okay. Someone give me $10, I'll give them 100. Would you want it? Yes. Someone give me $1,000, I'll give you 10,000. Would you want it? Yes. Someone give me $10,000, I'll give you $100,000. Would you want it? Yes. If you give me $100,000, I'll give you $1 million. Do you want it? Yes. And then it's like, okay, then why, when you do your offers, you tell to people, oh, this thing will make you X, they will be much more likely to buy. You just need to change the question that they have in their mind, right? So they really need to understand. You need to ask a 1K question or a $500 question. You need to ask a 1 million question. And this is also very important. A lot of time people do the mistake that say, oh, and the price for my product is. Okay, if you see the price, then people don't think about an investment or about an outcome. People think about how much it will cost or the cost of my course is, right? Well, on the other side, you might simply say something like, and if you get the program today, it will be just this, right? And that's another way to say it, right? And then imagine saying, oh, and if you get my program today, it will be just $1,000. And imagine, this program will help you so much, it will help you achieve 10x the results that you want. Are you in or not? Psychologically, you change a lot the way in which people understand about the offer. You change a lot the way in which people perceive the offer, perceive the money, perceive everything, right? So that's incredibly exciting. Then, how to make your sales pages alive. That's something important. It actually doesn't apply to sales pages per se. It applies more to copy and messaging in general. But I love this. I love this idea. I love to think in this way. And this, it's coming from Brandon Burchard. And he was talking about the 4 desires. And there are 4 major desires that people want to have, especially when they want to buy a course. They're all about growth, right? They're all about going from a place to another, right? And what they say is that people have these 4 desires that are growth, which is the central one, and then they have connection, aliveness, and then meaningful pursuits. And your copy and your messaging needs to answer all of these desires. Let's take a look at that. Connection. You shouldn't talk about changing the world. You should talk about how to change the day-to-day. So how does your program impact their family? How does your program impact their team? How does your program impact your community? That's what they care about, right? You can say about, oh, this will solve the hunger in the world. No one will believe you, right? People really need to understand exactly that thing. And let's imagine that even if the hunger of the world is a problem that they care about, if they have their daughter that doesn't eat, will they care more about the hunger in the world or making sure that their daughter doesn't cry because cannot eat? Obviously the daughter, right? Because it's the immediate problem. And that's very important. Connect to their level to the problem that they need. That's very important. Then aliveness. That's something that I think when I was at this session, I got such a huge slap in the face from this. It's like a lot of time, especially as marketer that look at so many sales pages, you stop feeling. You follow a process, you follow a procedure, it's a course, 6 hours, $200, wanna buy, right? Are you actually sparkling aliveness in your copy? Is there something huge, different? Is this a new thing that's happening? Are you energizing them? Are you using passion? Are you using joy? Are you using fear? Are you using emotions in your copy? Is this coming out? Sometimes I say to my copywriter, what's the emotion of this page? What are we trying to leave the person with after they see this page? And that to me is epic, right? Once the person knows what's the emotion, then it's much clearer how you're going to sell it, what's going to happen, right? So that's something that to me it's very, very, very truly important. Then meaningful pursuits. So we talked a bit about that before. It's like they also want to know that they're doing something important. So are you celebrating them? Are you motivating them? Are you making sure that they understand that sometimes it's a little bit as saying the change you do in yourself is the change you will do in the world. You're changing the world by changing yourself, and it's the right first step that you need to do in order to make these things happen. Are you saying this? Yes or no? It's very important that you don't just underline or meaning it, but it's like, are you actually saying it? And even more important, this is for growth, right? That's something that also was interesting because all the courses, all the things that we do are all about growth, right? But then the question is really, are you actually saying it in your copy? Like, go back to your copy, go back to your messaging. Are you actually saying you will grow? Are you saying you're going to grow? You are going to achieve your full potential. And this is something that to me is very important because a lot of times, like, yeah, obviously we're gonna do it, and obviously different type of program have different type of growth. But are you saying it? The more you're able to say this, the more you're saying growth potential. This is where you go. You start from here, you'll finish here. Are you in for that? Like, it's incredibly important. If you don't say this growth part, then they'll miss a huge thing, and that's to me something really, really important. And then, beside the four desires, we talk about one other thing that also to me was shocking, was a mistake that I dealt a lot with. And he was talking about the current world. And this is probably something very important for everyone that's going to market something next year or has been marketing this year. And how many of you in the last 2 years heard the term, it's such a difficult time? Oh, how stressful is COVID? How difficult is our life right now? Oh, don't you hate that you cannot go out of your house and you're in lockdown, right? How many of us heard the sentence? I think everyone did in a marketing context, right? And how many of us are hearing the sentence, oh, there is a recession, economy doesn't work anymore, right? And there is a sense why you would want to use this in marketing sometimes. In politics, we see this every time, right? It works very well. But the reality is this: there are 3 phases of dealing with change, and 3 also part of the population, right, that deal with change in a different way. There is a very conservative part, which is just the 10%, that are incredibly frustrating about any change. You shut down. Whatever it happened, you shut down, right? It's like, I'm refusing this. There is a vaccine, I'm refusing this. There is a new innovation, I'm not taking it. There is a new thing, it's like, not for me, right? And what's very interesting is that this concept of saying it's so hard, the last few years have been hard, it works in certain contexts because complaining connects people. In politics, this works incredibly. In building a community, this works incredibly. But guess what? That doesn't work in sales. So if you're creating an offer, if you're selling something, the last thing you want to do is complaining. Why? Because you put them in a state of mind of giving a justification for their problem rather than finding a solution for what they can control. And if you say, you're right, you don't have the money, COVID has been hard, there is a recession, yeah, you kind of justify the fact that they will ever say, yeah, I can't afford your things, or I don't want to afford it, right? That's the reality of what's happening. But a lot of other time it's like, well, but you have a problem and you need to solve it. And for sure there is recession, for sure there is COVID, and tomorrow there'll be something else. But how about your problem? Are you ever going to solve it? Yes or no? Are you always going to live with that? Yes or no? And the answer is no, then you need to take a solution, and better take a solution now rather than later. That's the way in which you want to make them deal with change. So again, complaining kills sales. Complaining is great for connection, but kills sales. And that's very important for us. Especially the more you complain, the more you will have so many people that feel that they are actually in that 10%. Then there is another 65% that is a positive attitude and they're trying to adapt and are trying to go with that. And then there is another 25% that they help the world shift back to performance. They go build a mindset, right? And obviously that's where you want to go. You want to bring as many people as possible in your pitch, in your sales, in your offer to go to the go build, let's do it, right? That's incredibly important. And it's something that really shift and change everything, right? So always remember, don't complain in your marketing. Give them a picture of what their future could look like. That makes a total difference. Awesome. And now we're going to start selling, the last chapter that we're going to cover today. Guys, how's been this training? Let me know on Zoom, on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you are. I hope this training has been so cool for you, as fired up as I am, because I'm very fired up out of this. And so let's go a bit deeper on the storytelling. So what I love, we got someone say, very interesting and inspiring. Thank you, Peter. Love it. So storytelling. So everyone heard about storytelling, but how do you tell stories in a way that it will sell? What stories do you tell in order to make sure that people will buy? So there are three major stories that you can use in your funnels. And these three major stories will have three objectives. The first one is make them feel understood. Second one is make them feel empowered. Third one is make their future clear. For every one of you to understand is like make them feel understood, probably in the beginning, right? When you want to build an empathy with them. Make them feel empowered when you want to bring them from point A to point B. And then make their future clear when you want to sell, right? So very important to figure out these frameworks and to go deep on that. Great. So the first one, make them feel understood. So the entire concept here is about creating an identity. What do I mean by creating an identity? It means from give them a name, give them something that they do understand. They need to understand their journey. So the example is this. Great example that they were giving in this was on ClickFunnels, right? So if someone of you is part of the ClickFunnels community, you will know that the way in which they call themselves is funnel hacker, right? I'm a funnel hacker, right? And the old identity is a entrepreneur that wants to do things but actually never does anything. And then you go through a journey of transformation, you become a funnel hacker. And then once you become a successful funnel hacker, you become part of what they call the 2 Comma Club, right? And you see that three identity from whoever enters and want to be an entrepreneur to a funnel hacker that's like I'm working on it to a 2 Comma Club that I made $1 million with my cohorts and funnels. That's incredible, right? So how do you do this? You always need to start from understanding what's the circumstances that happened, what's the desire, what's the emotion, what's the pain, how do you feel in this moment, what are the issues that you face, what are the relatability, and usually even say, I don't know you because I was exactly there. That's one of the best things. If you want to build empathy, it's like, it's not just telling, oh, you are this, you're this, you're this, you're this, because people feel attacked. What's important is simply saying, you might be in this situation. And I know it because I was there. This was my story. I did this, and then I changed it. I did this, and this, and then this goes to the next level. Now, what's important is that by sharing your story and your own hero's journey, you can shift those two things. And the way in which you do it is simply by changing a lot of the way in which this works. So the example here, if in the old identity, one entrepreneur is like, I want to start a business but I don't have the money. In funnel hacker, you're like, the entire concept is about doing and working and hacking, right? And creating a funnel. So you have very clear results that you want to achieve. If in the old identity you have these emotions that are really bad, here you have an emotion that's positive. In this case, is hustle, right? It's work hard, create great things, and have a huge outcomes from that, right? And if in the old identity you have this key issue that you're facing, in the new one is like these key traits that are applied, right? So you see how everything is so opposing. And if in the last one is more about relatable, we're all the same, it doesn't work. And now it's like you're an invitation even to the next level. Can you become a 2 Comma Club award winner? And that's a very interesting thing. And maybe think about your program. Maybe you're in weight loss, and maybe the old identity is about the skinny fat, right? And the new identity is about the six-pack guy, right? And want to join the six-pack club, or you want to stay in the skinny fat club, right? And then you can play around with that. Or maybe it's in a love relationship and you want to be like the one that sleep with everyone, the one who found the true love, right? You give this identity in the beginning. You share your story. You make them understand that their story and your story is very similar, and then bring them there and make them dream about that. And when they make a shift in identity, thanks to you, and once they say, from now on, I'm this person, not this person, you already make a huge change in their life. And they'll be thankful because you bring them to the next level where they actually want to go. Second, make them feel empowered. So that's a very, let's say, important thing. What's the reality here is that the make them feel empowered is about doing. It's not either just about saying a story, right? It's about creating a path for them so that then they will generate results and they will be happy and they will be much stronger about that. And if you see how do you create this path, you always start with pain. It's like, guys, you have this pain, right? How does this pain actually works? This is the underlying principle. This is the truth. That is the reality behind that. Based on this truth, there is a specific framework that once you apply, it will actually solve this. So you give them a 5-step framework to apply for that. And this will make you empowered because right now you transform the negative emotion into positive emotion. That means that you can achieve X and eliminate this fear. Do you feel better, right? And that's a very important one, right? So why do I say this and what do I mean by that? So let's go into example. Let's imagine I want to learn dating. And what's happening is that my pain is I'm being ghosted by everyone that I try to date with, right? What's the underlying principle? You are not presenting yourself in the best shape or form. That's why people don't find you interesting. And that's why they simply say, okay, I don't want to be your date. So what do? There's a 5-step framework on how you should present yourself. So present in this way, show this, understand who you are, understand different things that you can do. After that, they'll feel empowered. They'll start to go on their first dates, and they'll see that they're not ghosted. They can go to the second, third, fourth date. And it's like, oh my God, it's happening. I'm not ghosted anymore. Now I'm this. And so they measure the outcome. I'm going from being ghosted to finding a girlfriend. And that eliminates the fear of an objection that is like, I'm not worth it. Now I'm worth it. I just didn't know exactly how to behave in a date, right? So that's a classic thing. And obviously, if you want to bring them from uh, being single to find true love, there is maybe 5 of these that you want to do. So repeat as needed. Keep on doing this, keep on doing tons of stuff, and allow this entire thing to work exactly in this way. And then, last but not the least, this is probably the one I love the most. Make their future clear. So this is what you use when you present an offer, right? So the offer is always a path to achieve an outcome. This offer needs to create certainty. It's not, oh, you might achieve this, about you will do achieve this, right? And then increase the speed. It's like, well, normally you might do something by yourself and you might be able to achieve some results by yourself. But once you join this program, you will do this 5 times faster. And you'll do this by increasing your workload by in half the work that you will normally do. On top of that, this you can give a personalization, maybe a little hint on things that they can do themselves, and then you can add some proximity. So you're like, okay, yeah, beautiful. I know these are all the things that you know in an offer, but what's interesting here? Well, what's interesting is the way in which you phrase it. And that's a very simple way that is a very simple formula of how you present it. That's kind of the key here. So you call it like this thing, so that outcome, and imagine your life when this happens. Okay, sounds very abstract. So let's imagine this. Let's imagine that you're doing a course on dating. Right now we talk dating for so many examples. And you will give them a step-by-step framework on how they can it's a step-by-step framework on how they can approach girls on Tinder or on Bumble or on whatever dating apps, right? So that's a step-by-step framework, and that's the thing, right? So it's like, I give you a step-by-step framework to approach girls on dating app, so that you will always know what to say when you have a new match. Okay. And then it's like, imagine never get a match again and not getting an answer. Imagine always being able to connect truly from who you really are with the person, feeling that you are interesting, and transforming your match into a date. Would you like that? Now, you understand the difference. Normal people simply say, I give you a step-by-step framework to date on Tinder. I give you a step-by-step framework to date on Tinder so that you will always know what to say once you match, and people will continue work with that. And imagine being the most interesting person on Tinder that everyone wants to chat with. Would you like that? Now, this is very important because it really shifts the way in which you sell. And you see that it's not really super salesy. It's just a very simple framework to present who you are. And that's, to me, the key. That's the key of what could be the most important thing that you can do here. And this, guys, was the last part of today's training. So thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited that you were here and that a lot of you, I see someone of you has been in every single training. Thanks so much for this, guys. I really wanted to share this, and I hope that you get a lot of value from this. Please comment below in the chat, in Facebook, and most importantly, right? We are building this community, the Course Nation. It's a community of expert course creators, coaches, and consultants super committed to spread our wisdom and change the world of education. So if you're here, you're probably already in the Facebook group, comment there, ask your question. I'm happy to answer all the different questions and do all different things. I really want to create a huge course creator community. If you want to be part of that, please, please, please engage. Super excited on that. And I can't wait to see all of you there. Thanks so much for this. And I wish to everyone a fantastic weekend. Bye bye.